Soren, blocked out previous point. Blocked out again from Stoyanovski. Backspin knuckle. Absolute opportunity here for Russia to take a set point. Soren at full stretch, laying out. Going short, my word. Every point. Absolutely incredible. Krasilnikov off the target, down the line. First set point to the Vikings. Krasilnikov hammers, long. Vikings have done it the hard way. 7-2 down, 19-18 down. Back set, Krasilnikov. Andy Moore this time takes the Vikings. 5 match points, siding out for 3 Euro beach volleys in succession. Christian Soren does it first time of asking. And the Vikings emulate Martin and Paul Lassinger's achievement from Switzerland in '99.
Kåre, a very warm welcome. We are very, very proud to have you in our program. We're talking about involve and evolve. Let me start off with the first question. Did you always want to be a coach?
For me, the best thing is to play, and it's actually still the same. I feel alive when I'm playing. The second best is to be a coach. So when time's going on, you have to choose the second best. Okay.
So being a coach, I mean, if you describe yourself, what are your good skills?
I think endurance and that I never give up things. I have something in my mind and I just follow my inner voice in this. I'm pretty stubborn. That's both good and bad. But I'm good in learning and also in being curious about things and not only follow the books and maybe other philosophies. I try to create my own things and my own style.
Okay, so going to that philosophy, the philosophy and road of creating players from kids to world-class athletes. I mean, what is that philosophy? What is that philosophy about?
Yeah, it's in the webinar here now. I'm going through the steps in different stages of Anders' career and how I've worked with them. So I will bring you through some of my philosophies. It's hard to explain in a sentence, but I will bring you through a lot of ideas in my philosophy.
Okay, so just starting off with the basic principles, like the first thing pops in your mind. What do you consider your basic principles during practice?
My basic principles is that I have to challenge players. I'm not a waitress that gives them easy situations. I have to challenge my players, but I have also really to involve the players in their career and also training methods. And my biggest both inspiration and how I learn is from athletes. So that's short the basic in my philosophy.
Okay. So going through a little bit of the webinar, we will see some headlines. Play to learn. The first stage is about in volleyball. You will talk a little bit about like coaching for development in the World Tour in Stavanger, where the dreams are made. Evolve players with the game. Involve players need to have the drive and why we win. I mean, in the end, we are very curious about also that last one. Going on to the next slide. I mean, it's impressive. The amount of tournaments that all the boys won is really impressive. You can see everything here. How did you build this professional performing environment in Norway with these two guys?
Yeah, that's there are a lot of puzzle pieces that fits together. I've been working as a coach in 3 Olympics before, so I kind of have the know-how. But if you are a coach, if you don't have the athletes, it doesn't matter how much know-how you have. So the other piece is to build a program that athletes like and want to put all their time into, even without no paying, because you have to make a drive within the group that they can achieve something. And of course we are fortunate to have some athletes, and we started to work with them, and I really saw something special in the athlete group we have. We are also thinking like a team, because it's not only about 2 players in our team. We have more players, so that we are in a team and that they can push each other and also help each other, and also like the indoor team feeling, because that we don't feel that in earlier stages. When I was coaching in the first Olympics, it was 2 players and a coach, and the team feeling we didn't have. So it's getting boring if you only think 1 player, now 2 players and 1 coach. So there are a lot of elements in this, and I could say we have done a lot of mistakes before also in building teams. So when you're making mistakes you learn, and I've made so many in building teams before that I can call myself experienced in this.
All right. I mean, I think a lot of coaches will recognize this. So it all starts with talent, of course, recognizing the talent. But in the end, like you said, you saw that there was a lot of talent, and not only the 2 guys, but also multiple more guys. So how do you, if you see the talent, how do you help them as a coach?
I both help them and I challenge them. Maybe the biggest help for the players is also to challenge them at their level, and to make them understand that to develop you need to push some limits in your effort. If you are receiving against easy balls, you will not get any better in reception. So we are maybe one of the best receiving teams in the world, and also setting, and I have an easy explanation on this, because I was a former player and I have a good shoulder. I still have a good shoulder. That's the only thing that's working on me almost. But when they were younger, like 15, 16, I could always challenge them with my serve and from boxes, and they need to achieve a certain amount of perfect passes and sets before we left the training. So this is my philosophy also in challenge the players.
Okay, so that's a good example. Being blessed with a good shoulder as a coach is a good thing. Well, okay, so we will again talking about challenging, because already you said 2 times helping them by challenging them. I mean, I think that is really a nice thing to do. So we will talk later on about it also. To go to the next slide. What are you most proud of when you think about your volleyball life? Because you are a player, you are a coach now. So what are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of that I still love the sport of volleyball, and that people around me also really love the sport. And maybe the proudest moment for me is that I see the players, they are good role models. It's not for me only about winning or being on the top of a podium, but I really like when the players are humble. They are role models. They are really also models for other players, because I want the sport to grow, and I think maybe this is what I'm most proud of. That's the way the players behave.
So being humble for you is a very good characteristic. In sports, like, do you consider that being a big plus, being humble?
I think good humans, it's easier to get them to be good athletes.
Okay. So being a person for you can make really a difference in professional sports.
Yeah, because it's also about we need to spend a lot of time together when we are practicing. And we don't need the assholes in this group, because then it's sucking energy, and so we need to behave together. That's one of the key factors. And it's not always about that we are nice to each other. We are fighting sometimes, but we try to listen to each other and not be mean, because in a environment when you push levels, you always also have some disagreements. So that's also a natural thing of being together. But we are working on this all the time. You know, in a group, you have struggles coming up, but this is the things we solve together with communication.
Yeah. So one of those two guys you're talking about is happening to be your son. So I mean, creating a good and nice environment and getting along with each other. I mean, it's also about the two people can get along quite well. But if you're talking about, like, thinking about your son, being his coach, how do you deal with disagreements? How do you solve them, or how do you do that being a father?
I try to treat them as my athletes when we are in practice, and it's maybe harder for me to be a dad, because I'm always their coach. So I have also to find ways to also be a dad with Anders and also my other sons, and not always a coach. But when we are practicing, we discuss things, and my boys, they are like other boys. They don't agree everything what a parent says. They will challenge you, and that's how it is. So we have the discussion, and sometimes it can be hard, and sometimes we are really fighting over things, but when we talk after, we maybe laugh some things, and I have my weaknesses in personality, and that's it. So with discussions, we always, because what I want is actually that they become better, and but for a parent, the best thing with your children is just to love them.
Nice. I mean, I hear that you challenge them by, you helping them by challenging them, and Anders is also helping you by challenging you. I mean, that's what I heard you saying. Can you give me an example about how he challenges you?
Yeah, he is really good in seeing things how he sees things as an athlete, and I say. Now I really learn a lot from both Christian and Anders, and also my other players, because in some parts of the game they are smarter than me. It's about tactics. How do we do this? Because I intend also not to tell them too much about tactics, because they are going to play the game, and I try to figure out what they think about how we should play against different attackers, how we should play against different receivers. So I ask them a lot, and when I ask them, I also get a lot of interesting views from their side. It's if you are only speaking as a coach, you just speak what you think. You will never get the answer from your coaches, and I think you need to. As a coach, you need to know what your players know to coach them, if you understand this.
Yes, for sure I do. Asking more and telling less. I mean, it's maybe a difficult question, but I'm just curious. What is the best question, like the most interesting question you asked them? Like the answer you got that you're like, yeah. I mean, what is the best question you asked?
Yeah, that's a hard one, but there are many questions, like why did you do this in this situation, or why did you change the tactics? Did you see when you blocked him that he wants to go this way as an attacker? How did you feel in this situation when you were pushed? Things like that. It's maybe some good questions. I can't come on something right now, but good questions are also how do you want to play this guy? How can you see his weaknesses? What is he doing after a mistake? Things like that.
Well, yeah. How can you see somebody else's weaknesses? I mean, that's a tough process. Being a volleyball player, so many factors going on, so many different situations all the time. I mean, as a coach, you have to cut it down to the simple question: how can you recognize someone being weak, or how can you recognize someone being on fire, even if it's your teammate or maybe the other one? I mean, in the end, I think it's a good question. I mean, to finish up this slide. When was the moment that you as a coach or as a dad really felt that they had the connection with the top, like with the international top? What was the moment?
I really saw something in them when they were quite young, but that they should boost their performance that quick was I didn't have that in mind at all. But I actually saw it when they qualified in a tournament in not in Vienna, but the places it was Klagenfurt. Then they were 20 or 19 maybe unders, and they should play an under 20 championship together. And I just put them in a tournament to qualify, and they qualified, and they beat really good teams in this tournament, and they became fifth. So, and at this moment, I also saw that they are actually playing much better in tournaments. That their level in tournaments, even if they are unexperienced, is higher than in practice. So they have a good competing morale, or a good competing quality, because if you are doing better in competition than on your best in practice, there is something. So then I realized, oh Jesus, they are really good together, and they really play at a higher level when they are competing against really good other players.
All right. Well, I'm curious in the next few slides if that game mentality is a coincidence, or if that is a result of how they grew up, how you treat them as a coach, how do they. I mean, in the end, we will hopefully answer that question. I mean, we'll start off with a video again. Evolve. Maybe already we can solve a little bit of this answer.
Ingen Linje opp! Yes!
And there it is! Norway! With a spectacular victory! Quite amazing!
Yes, Kåre, you are already coaching a long time, these guys. Can you tell us a little bit about play to learn, like the first stages?
Yeah, and I have two passions in life, and that's working with kids and also with very best players. So that's maybe different from other coaches, but I see the foundation of things. They are really important, and I think also the best coaches they should learn or they should work with kids, because you learn so much from working with kids and how the developing is going. And to make a platform, we have too many unexperienced coaches working with kids. That's where you actually learn behavior and you learn how to practice. So I'm so I think it's so fun to also work with kids, because you can see the spontaneous pleasure with kids in their eyes. They don't care if you are a world-class coach. It's just about being there and seeing what's going on and living in the moment. If I tell them that I'm a world-class coach, they just look strange at me. So I have to deliver, and I have to deliver good stuff. Then they are really attracted to the game. So for me, also when I start working with my kids, I learn much more from my 5 kids than any guru or any book I've read, just to follow them and to see how they learn. As I said, the spontaneous pleasure for kids, and also about the motor learning, how do the kids develop? And I have one example in this, and probably the biggest step in motor learning for a human being is when a kid starts walking. That's a transformation, but then we also understand that we can't tell them how to walk. They experience, and our nervous system is actually really smart to learn things, and that's also the basic in how we learn later. We don't have to be told anything. It's just to put them in the right learning situations, when they are kids, they are just met with encouragement from the parents, and that's the way they learn. So we have to understand this also when we are working with kids. It's better to maybe say to kid that a target focus, bring the ball here or catch the ball. Than to explain him how to move his legs or like that. So target focus is for me better. Try to just say, can you do this? Try to get the ball here, and you really have to trust the nervous system of the kids, and don't talk too much to them. They didn't learn to walk in one day, so they developed, right? If kids are losing focus, either you do it too difficult for them, or you do it too easy. Then they are losing focus. So you have to adjust things and really maybe not blame the kids in losing focus. If they are good and they are losing focus, try to give them a new challenge. Then they will stay focused. For me, it's also when I'm working with kids, I start to be playful myself, and that's a good thing to feel. So you also have to be playful in these situations. It's hard to control everything if you have 5-6 year old kids, to control everything that they should do exactly what you are telling them. Let them also be playful. And that's another thing in than being mean to each other or doing things that doesn't fit the practice. But you don't have to control everything with the kids. It's also about my kids. They were also a bit on and off. It's not always that they are really into wanted to go to practice. Okay, then they can stay home. Other times they wanted to practice 10 hours, and in our small home place we had the keys to the gym, so we could go to the gym whenever we wanted, and sometimes they could play 10 hours, and really 10 hours. It's not actually a joke. Other days they were tired, so kids are on and off, so let them be a bit on and off. And for me also, it was important not just to practice my son, but also other kids, because you need to create an environment, and you need it takes a village to raise a child, if you understand. And they have to make dreams together, and in a group you have friends, and that's an important thing also to bring more kids together.
Yeah, nice to hear, Kåre. When you see the young kids for the first time, where do you start working on?
Yeah, I try to see immediately with some ball control exercises where they are, and then I try to challenge them in different tasks. If they are 5-6 years old, they can throw and catch the ball. They can throw and catch the ball over a net. They have 2 balls, and they throw and catch each other ball. One ball is bouncing, because of the first stage of learning is not the final skill of a set or a pass, because that's often too difficult. But the first step is to move into the ball trajectory. It's not easy to move into the ball trajectory if you don't have done it before. So that's the first step of learning, is to start working on these things.
And if you in the first stage, you also start with a target, or the target is in the first stage is not involved?
Yeah, targets is also in there. Can you do this 10 times in a row? Can you do this together with a partner 10 times in a row? Can you change ball without they are crashing and catches the ball? Can you do this 10 times? Not immediately, but they have to try a bit first, and then I get a target goal. And if they have done the target, I give them a new challenge. And the others who haven't made the target, they can still work on their achievement level, or whatever you can call it. Yep. You can see the picture here. Here is there are 9 mini courts, and they're all involved in playing. This is a bit higher stage, but instead of having there are a lot of players, I make small games, 1 against 1, 2 against 2, challenging tasks with 1 against 1, and so on. But it is about also volleyball is a game that we play the ball over the net, so we should actually play the ball over the net. We have 3 touches, and actually all the 3 are in cooperation with the net. You get the ball over the net and you have to deliver it over the net, and you have to set the ball also with the net. So you have to play with the net. For me, it's a waste of time to do anything else than this.
What's the difference? You practice with young kids, and you are a coach of the biggest team in the world. Can you tell us what's a big difference?
Yeah, the big difference is, of course, that you maybe are more playful. I'm really looking into all the players to see if they are have the right challenge, or that they are into the action what we want them to do, and I try to learn them simple behavior, not about winning, but how can you be good to practice, and it's not always to achieve your goal, but it's not to give up when you are not succeeding with something. So I try to learn them these things on a pretty early stage. How are you good in practicing? If I can say this.
Yeah.
But of course, this is also a thing when you are better, but then it goes automatically. Yeah.
So the behavior you learn as a young player, it's more important if you learn it in a young stage. If I can say it like this.
Yeah. That's it's so important to bring in some behavior, and it's behaving also in a group, because nowadays kids are kind of spoiled. If you come home with a shitty drawing, your parents tell you how nice it is. So everybody is good in everything, and so in a team sport, not everybody can shine, and you have to help each other, and it's not always about me in a team sport or in a group. It's about us. It's about us having fun together. It's about doing your best. It's about also see others that do their best, and give them some positive energy in this. It's not all about me, and the world is full of me things.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. Let's go to the next slide. The most important skill. Can you tell us something about this?
Yeah, I try to tell people working with kids that the most important skill is not actually serving or passing or hitting. It's, and then it looks strange at me. It's about it's strange to say, but ball control is actually about being good without a ball. You have a touch in a blink of an eye. So what you do before you touch the ball is the most important. And so what do you do before you touch a ball? Yeah, you have to see. You have to move in the trajectory of the ball. This is a difficult word, this trajectory. But you have to move in the trajectory of the ball, and then you have the touch in a blink of an eye. So the ball handling is actually what you see and how you move, and it's not only the coach telling you to move your legs. It's and to be good, you have to be exposed for this situation in the right portions, so that you can learn to see where the ball is going, what your partner or opponent is doing to put speed on the ball, or and this is for me the most important thing to work on. To understand the trajectory of the ball, and then things is coming easy from there.
Yes. Can you tell, as a coach, when you are walking into in the practice with young kids, what are the key aspects? You say something about the trajectory, but what are more key aspects you are looking for in a player?
Yeah, for the player, I look how good they are in practicing, not actually how good their technique is or how good their movement but how good are they in learning. Are they starting to cry if they don't achieve something, or do they lose focus when they can? If they have struggles, this I can see from kids. Are they when I look them in the eyes, can I see life in their eyes? Can I see love for what they are doing? Can I see love for trying a challenge? You can see that in the eye of a child. But I look more to coaches when I go into a gym. Are there many balls in the air? Is there a lot of talking? I don't like that. Is there a short explanation and a lot of movement and challenges? Are the kids smiling? Are they trying to do their best? Are they sweating? For me, that's good signs for a good training group.
Yeah, I understand. Nice if you're looking for those aspects too. Is there the key aspect for young children? Is it the same for the top players you are coaching, or is there a difference?
More experienced players. I also can see this or try to see this in the eye of more experienced players. We always need to see the playful love for the game in the eyes. If they are like in a funeral, when you see their eyes, it's not. It doesn't. I don't think they will train good or perform very good or play a tournament very good. So. When I talk to my players, I ask them to remove their glasses so I can see the soul in their eyes. Then I can feel a bit. Where are they? Do you having fun? Are you on or are you off?
Yeah. So that's also the person behind it, and it's nice. Link to the next slide. Can you tell us about something about that, the development and understand of the child and the athlete?
Yeah. Also, you have to understand the child or the athlete's stages where they are and developing stages. You cannot walk into a practice if you have beginners like they are, if they are 10 or 13, and make too complicated things. So you have to quickly understand, where are these kids? How shall I train them? And if you start with them early, if you start with them as 5 to 7 years, you cannot expect them to pass the ball very well from a serve or something. So you have to understand that from this stage they can do some movements, but then they can catch the ball. They cannot maybe play it. If they are going to play the ball, the easiest thing is actually to hold the ball in your own hands and throw them to yourself and then make a set. That's much easier than somebody else throwing the ball to you or a partner, because they don't know how easy they should make it. But if the kids have control over the ball and they throw it to themselves and then make a touch, that's much easier in the start. And then maybe when they are 7, 9, if they have this approach, then you can make some movement and also some touches and be successful with this. and then the ball is moving a bit faster when they are 9 and 11, and then also in and out angles of the ball is different, and you can expect them to understand and do this. 11:30, more complex situation with more players and more accurate target focus. And actually, I'm still saying to my boys that we are not good enough in serving and now receiving and setting. The thing is, if you think you can receive and set, you will always be challenged by somebody who makes the ball look. Now the ball moves faster. You will always meet a tougher serve. So you are never good enough in these stages. And what happens when you can do the techniques? It's that the ball is moving faster. That's actually the only thing. What happens there?
Yeah, I understand. And you say you tell us about some stages, the ages. At what time you want to recognize the talent? And actually, the next question is, how do you recognize the talents if you look to it as a coach?
Yeah, a lot of talents you can see it in their eyes. Are they willing to practice? Do they think this is fun? Because in our world in Norway, as I said before, the kids are pretty spoiled in things. So you have to see the spark in the eye of the kid. If not, they will not stay in the game very long. So you have to see this. You have to see that they like to practice, that they are on practice every time, and that they are supporting the other kids also, and that it's not only about me. Then you can see a good team player in coming. That's and of course you can also see how the skill is developing. Are they athletes? Can they do other things with the ball? Can they play football? Can they play basket? Can they do they have a ball control and a body control? That's of course also a big factor in seeing talents.
Yeah, and if you see the spark in the eyes of a player, but isn't so talented, what do you do with to shape those people, those kids?
Have them in practice together with the others that are technically good, and they will for sure learn. If they have this, they will for sure learn. Not anything else, but some players you have to guide more in their techniques. Others they just are doing the right things. They just have the right arm swing when they are attacking. Somebody has to be adjusted a bit more without. And that they also don't lose they believe in themselves in this.
Yeah. Okay. That's nice. Yeah. Can you tell us something about the next slide about the father athletes and the parents, because you are in there as a parent too? Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, you could have our own webinar in this, but my kids, they are not different from other kids. They tend to disagree what you are telling them, or question what you are telling them, and So that's also why I started to explain them too much. Just do this things, and so for me also when I see parents, because I have also worked not only with beach players, but we work also with indoor players, and parents, they have often do they have a higher ambition than the kids, and this is for me a signal that this is not a good relation. It has to come from the players. You talk with parents, why is my kid not playing, and things like that, and they are maybe shouting from the sideline, or they are loving their kids when they are good, and they are not loving them that much when they lose or something like that. It should be enough for a parent to say, it's really good to see you play, or if they don't play, it's so good to see you in the team. What a good team you have. Things like that. Because if the parents then are talking about, why are you not playing, and you are better than this guy, or then you have a conflict situation in the team. So parents should be really aware of how to talk to their children to build a good environment within the group, and parents, they don't have to push their ambitions to their child. They have to support them in their choices, and see if they are struggling, and to help them, and not blaming them for or the coach for that they are not playing, or things like that. So
so the best, if I understand you, the best thing as a parent to do with your child is to be supportive. And the difficult thing for you is that you are not only a father, but you are also the coach. But what is the really the positive side of coaching him?
The most positive side is to still see him that much. Otherwise, your kids are out of the home and you don't see them anymore. So for me, it's like I see people I really love, but I love Christian as my son, and also the other players in the group. And to be around them is for me really great. But for a father, then because as a father you want to protect your son, you don't want to challenge him too much. So and I try to be and this is a hard line, because I think maybe Anders has it tougher in our training group than Christian, because I maybe treat Anders tougher than Christian, because I don't want it to be opposite. So I'm maybe softer to Christian than I'm to Anders, and that's it's a thin line, this, but overall, as parent, you just have to support the kids. If you are a coach and a parent, you really have to talk with your athletes also. Do they feel that I'm prioritizing my kid, because they have to answer this, and we have to talk about this, and we do, so that there are no open questions, or so we actually try to put most of these things on the table, and then discuss this.
Is this also they have? I can imagine Anders and Christian have also arguments together. What do you do as a parent or as a coach? You told me that if you are on the court, you are as a coach. So what do you do as a coach if they have an argument?
I listen to them and I make some questions, and mostly we will, or all the time we will find a way. If the argument goes on, we try to finish it there, and we practice until the end of the practice, and then we take it up after how this and this. But we don't have the big arguments when we are practicing. Actually, we can have some fights that I get pissed in some situations that they, but it's then both Christian and Anders, they are blaming me to be too pushy or something. So then they are on the same side. It's more like that.
Yeah, okay, I can imagine. And last question about this one. How do you do it at home? Because on the court you say I'm a coach. At home you are a father. But beach volleyball is a big part of your life. Can you switch to be a father, or is it difficult to split this in the home situation?
That's the tough part, because they look at you as a 24/7 coach, that you also are a coach when you wake up in the morning or when you are making dinner or things like that, and that you always are this. I don't try to change my personality, but I try to find some things that we can have beside of father coach, like. With my oldest son, we like to make food together, and Anders also, he likes to involve in some food making, or if we are going fishing. So I have to try to find another pillar that we can have a father-son relation outside the volleyball, because in our home and around the table when we not talk about volleyball, it gets silent really fast. So we need to find something else that it's not a father. Now that it's not a coach relation, but a father-son relation. We should do it more often than we do.
Yeah. So fishing is one of the things, but you say it needs to be more often. To go to the next slide. Can you tell us something about, like, Anders' big brother Hendrik? He was the most important coach. Can you tell us something about that, please?
Yeah, that's what I say also to Hendrik, because as a younger brother from an older brother that also plays volleyball, and when they grew up, Anders always lost, and he was always sad, and he was also always disappointed when they couldn't win, but he really tried his best always. And in a development situation, to struggle and fail is key to learn. So when he is put in this situation, he really learned how to struggle also, and if you can deal with losing, it's easier to deal with winning. And all losses, they are a step towards victory. And everybody has to learn also to lose. And if you have talents that are the best in the group, you really have to find ways that they can struggle. They have to meet a higher level. They have to meet tougher conditions. So for Anders, Hendrik was the guy or the person that always gave Anders the struggle. If you are early in puberty, in your developing, you are maybe the best in your team, and you can hit the ball wherever you want. Nobody reaches the ball. Then you have to find a new struggle for these kids. Anders was late in his puberty, and that for him was that a really big advantage because he learned how to overcome the opponent's block with skills. And then when he grew and he gained some weight, and then he had the skill. So you have to be aware of this in a group that you challenge the best ones. And
so for Hendrik, it was difficult to challenge him, but Hendrik challenged Anders to being better every day. Is that
really? And also, me and my wife, we have played volleyball, and my wife played also in the Olympics. So we know how to play the game, and we played against our kids when they were 13, 14, and we really had fun with playing, and we never. We always try to win the games with our very best. And I'm not very proud of telling this, but I sometimes also cheated to try to win because I just hate to lose. So that's
something in the family. It runs in the family.
I have told them now after 6-7 years that I cheated on some balls, and then Dad, you are fucking crazy. But we try to win. We try to win, and there was a competition, and we sometimes we won and we lose, but we played and we had fun. So, but that was also a development part in this stage to do your best and try to win the game. I didn't want them to win the game, so. And I think that they see that immediately as kids, and the best part for them is just to do the best and try to win the game.
Yes, and you told us a few times that self-management is an important aspect for athletes. How do you stimulate the self-management with your athletes?
I try to also let them be a bit on and off. If they have a lot of schoolwork and a lot of stress, they stay home for practice one day. It's not that because we actually had one kind of a rule in our home that's I will go with you on practice, boys, but you have to ask me. You have to set the standard, or you have to ask me. It's not Anders. Now we have to go practice because it's Thursday and it's 5 o'clock, and then we have scheduled this. So ask me. I will go with you, and then allow them this. And it's not that happen very often, but it's not my career. So later on, when we worked with the kids, I also started with a speech in this that, boys, I'm your helper and you are the project leader in your own career. So let's go, kind of thing. We and I don't know everything in your career, but you are the leader in your own career. And you have to feel how things are working. We have to discuss. I am a helper, and your teammates are helpers in this.
Yeah, is this you started with this in really a young age, or you started this in a little bit later stage?
No, 14, 15, they are aware of this, but the really speech began when I started to take the national team. And to explain my philosophy in involving players in their own career.
So 14, 15 years old is a good moment to start with self-management.
Yeah, but you can start with self-management in things when they are 5, 6. Self-management is also to be learn how to practice, learn how to behave in practice. That's also a self-management and a learning towards what's coming later. But then they don't understand to be a manager in your own career. So that starts later. These words, but it's always an education in developing players.
Okay. Yeah. Last question about this slide. If I understand it well, Anders and Christian, they're living so far away from each other. How do you practice? How are you doing that in practice? Because they are living so far away from each other.
We are always together in practice, and the boys are in their bags 260 days a year. So 260 days a year they are together, and they went to the high school together, and they stayed 3 years together practicing every day. And now, when they are home, they have maybe a week off or something, and then we go back to practice. In tournament season, they don't have any. Maybe one day off in between some tournaments, but they stay together, and then we go on training camp. So they are together all the time, actually.
Kåre, in between these two webinars, you are European champion for the 3rd time. How do you feel?
I feel great. It was so great to compete again after a while, and we are so proud of bringing home the 3rd European Championship in a row. Thank you for this.
Yeah, I can imagine this great feeling. We're going to talk about creating the environment, because you are creating, in the last years, you were creating a great environment. Can you talk about this, how you created this?
It's for me. It's important to have more players than just 2 players or 3 or 4. So to create an environment, and it's like it takes a village to raise a child, and you need partners. You need other players in an environment to create some good players. And in practice, you have to create another environment, and we always try to do warm-up games with the ball, because we try to find people that loves the ball game and not running around the court, because that's a waste of time, in my opinion. We try to do things with the ball that you also have some stimuli in what you are doing as a volleyball player. It can be ball control, it can be some funny games, relays or whatever, but also an element of competition and this. So that's one part of creating an environment. It's also, for me, really important that there are enough balls, that there is not enough space on the net, so that kids can play the ball over the net. And that's also why I have created this long net program that gives a lot of net space for the kids to play the ball over the net. I'm a really fan in younger age to have boys and girls together in practice. It gives a good synergy between boys and girls. The boys are a bit tougher, and the girls have to learn this. The boys learn to be a bit humble with their teammates and these kind of things. So and it's really about the technical game, and girls can be as technical good as the boys, so it doesn't matter if there are boys or girls in practice. It just creates a better environment in my point of view. For coaches, everything doesn't have to be perfect when you are practicing. We don't try to make drills so easy that it is going to be perfect. Then the drills are too simple. It's normal to fail in the drills and not to bother too much about that. So that's also a part of creating environment. And it's also important to have all-around skills. I don't like that they are too early chosen for setters or for attackers or for middle blockers. And I think many coaches are on this path now, but we see still that it's really important to win the next game. So we choose maybe the best athlete for outside hitter position when this guy is not so tall, and we know maybe this could be an international setter or something. And so I think it's important to not think only the next game to win this, but also can this player be a future national team player in another position. So I think everybody should do everybody and try to work a lot of the all-around skills.
Okay, great. A question about for the coaches who are watching. You say I do a lot of practice games in warming up. Can you make this a little bit more practical? Do you use equipments from the gym? You make gonna count till 4 till somebody's winning. Is that something what you're doing during the warming up?
Yeah, it can be. It's game, not game like, but it's coordination. You have to throw a ball to each other over the net, and you have to catch each other ball if it's kids, and then not catch each other ball, but you have to pass it to yourself. And if you do this, you can pass it over the net again, and maybe bump one ball and play the other with a pass or a set. It can be a relay where there are 2 players involved in something. They have to bounce the ball and then make a touch over the net. So it's and this is warming up to what we are doing, because we are then doing some volleyball-like drills that warms you up, and it's fun. So we have to think about the issue or the part of the sport. It has to be fun also, and not everything in practice is fun, but we should think like kids. What is fun to do? I like competition, so let's do warming up also like this.
Yes, thanks. Great example, Kåre. I think the coaches can play with this in their team. For the coaches who are watching. And they have ambition. They have a small club somewhere in, for example, Holland or Belgium. How can they start creating an environment like you did, like you started a few years ago?
It's always good just to start somewhere and then learn throughout the path, because a lot of coaches think that I have to do this perfect before I start. So have the dare to start, listen to the players, because they know things, and they can also not be in charge of creating an environment, but you can ask them, what would you like to do? I have my ideas, so and so. Let them practice together. There is one more part in our practice, what I think is important, and that's also we compete a lot because I have a theory that all this data play games that the kids do, that is a kind of a competition between somebody, and they actually like to compete. So I think also we should compete in practice with things. We should make and if you not compete with the others, you compete with yourself. How many times can you do this, or have a goal with this? That's I am maybe more competitive than somebody likes, but I know it attracts a lot of kids to just compete, and it's not that when we have a competition, I try not to emphasize too much on the winners because they are good, but I try to emphasize on how they are doing in practice. Are they giving all their energy into the practice, even if they maybe seems like they are losing, kinds like that, because we don't try to give the winners even more energy and to step on the losers. But for me, the competition drive also in practice is really important.
Yeah, okay. Do you have future goals in your environment?
That's a good question. I always want to develop the sport because I really think that everybody in the world, and I may be crazy in my head, but I think everybody in the world should play volleyball or a team sport, because I think the idea of keeping the ball alive is it's just fascinates me, and maybe I have some click in my brain or something, but I cannot understand why everybody doesn't like this. Future goal is to bring more of the beauty to everybody about our sport, and also how good it is in making an environment for kids to grow up with. If you don't be a world star athlete, you learn team skills, you learn how to treat others, you learn how to deal with losses, you learn how to deal with failure, and you learn also how to support your teammates in different situations. So for me, I cannot find a school situation where you learn so much than in team sport. And in volleyball, I think it's just a great sport also to learn these things for kids and also for grown-ups.
Yeah, great. I feel your passion and that you want to make this work to learn all the kids playing volleyball. Is there also something practical you want to design, or you want to evolve in your club, or?
No, it's for me. It's just really nice to see kids playing with the ball with a smile on the face, and they like the activity. This gives me energy, and it gives me drive to continue with this work. So it is, and if there are more kids, it gives me more energy. So this is a drive when I work with kids, just to see that they have fun and they are playing and they are doing their best in things. That's my goal when I am in practice and also around clinics and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Let's go to the next part, the World Tour in Stavanger, where dreams are made. Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, we had this World Tour tournament in Stavanger because we had a lot of good beach volleyball players in Norway. We have been in the Olympics many times with already from '96, and we have always had good teams in Norway. And the tournament in Stavanger was a really big piece of the puzzle, both for Anders and Christian, to create dreams. Because if you are a kid and you see like 8,000 people in the stage cheering for a beach volleyball game, you start to think, this is a sport I wanted to practice in. I think it's a really big part in the whole puzzle, that there is events, and that there are events that kids can see that this sport is something. And so for kids, when they are younger, to take them to an environment where they can see not just the play, but the crowd, and that the sport is something. I think that's a big part in the drive of talent to be something. So that's and Anders and Christian, they tell me about this, and when we are in Stavanger now, that Stavanger is always something really special for them. That's where they got the first goosebumps, and where they created the dreams of and drive in their small heads to also want to be on this center court sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. And a little bit like back in the past, they went on the main stage in Stavanger. But when they were young, how did you create this dream together?
I just took them there. That was the part I did, because I was a national team coach then for other players in Norway. So. And I didn't have to ask Anders. He always wanted to go to Stavanger, and he was in the stages to watch this. And I had also to wake up 6 in the morning before anybody did go to the warm-up courts, because he wanted to play there. And then I had to wake up 6 in the morning also and play some ball with him, because he wanted to stay on this court. And that was basically what I did. I didn't tell him that this can be yours or whatever. But when he was 13, 14, he suddenly said to me that, Dad, I'm going to be the youngest player who plays on this court ever. And I thought, okay. I didn't. I thought maybe it was not possible, but actually, Anders, he qualified in an wild card competition between Norwegian teams, and he was 16 when he first played the World Tour in Stavanger. So he was actually the youngest and achieved this goal. But the dreams are made in his head, and that's also the important part of this. I think the players, they have to create their own dreams, and that they not are adapting our dreams as parents or as coaches.
Yeah, so it starts with the goosebumps, and then the dream is coming, and then and suddenly they have a goal. So if I hear you right, for young children, it's important to go to big events or big teams to play, where they play volleyball to create dreams together? Is it, or to create the dream for themselves? Is that right?
Yeah, I think if you as a kid, if you don't feel the goosebumps or the environment attractive, I think it's hard to get them to convince them that this is fun. So I think they will start to feel the atmosphere and start to create some dreams. So, but there are probably also stories that they don't need to do this, but for us this was, and then I talk both for Anders and Christian, because Christian was there with his father and mother also, and that was before we knew Christian actually. So he was there with his father and mother, and for him it was also and his story is pretty much the same as Anders' story. He started to feel like, oh, this is a sport and I want to be there. So for those two, it was important.
Oh yeah. And what are the dreams for the future? What do they have still dreams where they want to go for?
Yeah, I think their dreams, they have never been in Olympics. So the Olympic dream is really a high goal for both Anders and Christian, and for every player, I guess. The Olympic is every fourth year. Now maybe every fifth year, or what it will be. But it's a special event, the Olympics, and for us in Norway, we are a small volleyball country, and it's hard for us to have like 12, 14, 16 athletes that we can build an indoor team. So the drive for an Olympic dream is big, and that's also why they chose to go on beach volleyball, because we have an opportunity to go to the Olympics with beach volleyball. It's so hard for us to compete in indoor, both with talents and also with the financial situation that you have to support 14, 15 players and make a program that you have to invest in many years. So the dreams are definitely the big competitions like the Olympics, like the World Championships, and also try to create some history and have fun with the sport. That's their dreams.
Yeah, great to hear. They have some great big future dreams. Let's go to the next slide. Can you tell us something about Evolve players with the game?
I'm not very technical focused in practice, especially not with kids. And I think if you put the kids in the right situation, they will learn how to pass the ball, how to set the ball, and they need some input in things. But I think a lot of coaches, they are afraid of doing mistakes when they start with the kids, because I don't know really how to correct them in a way of passing or setting. So they are thinking very much on the technical part of the game, when I think if you put them in the game or together with others that can play, so I'm more of the game teaches the game kind of guy. But we have a set of technical keywords always, but I think the players, they really evolve in game situations, in situations that creates that they have to do their best. We like always to do random game-like situations. It's I never like to that they, for instance, pass a ball and that you get 10 on your right side and 10 on your left side, but because you cannot ask your opponent to serve 10 on your left side and 10 on your right side. It has to be in the situation that is coming from your opponent. It's so this has to be random as it is in game situations, but you can adapt the how difficult it is, because you cannot as an adult serve a kid with your game-like serve, so then you have to adapt with an easier serve, but it should come like it comes in a game. I think also I'm always looking for how smart they are to learn. If they hit the ball in a block, okay, are they doing that the next time in the same way, or are they trying to hit more on the angle, and help them just to have the dare to try to do something else if they are stopped in block, for instance, and encourage them to try to hit the ball block out or try to go on an angle, because in this game situation you will learn if you are a good learner, and the good opponent will explore your weakness, and you have to then to pass the ball or to hit the ball in a bit different way than you did the time before. So that's a kind of that's always our focus, and also to challenge them in drills, and we have this 70-30 philosophy that the 30% has to be so difficult that you can't manage, but the 70% you should manage more or less, and it doesn't mean that you have to throw 7 easy balls and then 3 really difficult balls, but you understand it has to be, the exercise has to be so challenging that you succeed with 70% and you fail with 30%, more or less, in this. And that's if I can. I don't know if I managed, if I said this in the part 1 here, but one of the reasons why we are good in passing and setting is because I have, as a coach, have a good shoulder. I could always challenge them when they were 15, 16 years. It's not because they are smarter or something, but it's just that I could challenge them the right way. And we have to think about this as coaches. We have to challenge kids when they are coming. We have to challenge if they are talents and 17, 18, and even now when they are in the top level. I am constantly thinking about how to challenge the Anders and Christian so that they can develop, and I have to challenge them. I cannot challenge them anymore with my shoulder, so I have to be creative to make it slightly more difficult than they will meet in a game situation, and that's the hard part.
All right, so I just also wanted to say that I just really enjoyed the part of Stavanger and you as a competitor, seeing the fire lighting up in your son's eyes, and also being a coach and walking and helping them decide the whole process of becoming maybe the world greats at the moment. It must be also for you as a competitor, like such a nice ride. So that's just what I want to say also, that I just really enjoyed that part. So speaking about special qualities, you talked a little bit about smart learners. So they make a mistake, and do they do something different? How do they do something different? Is that something that you link through to special qualities, or can you specify what is a special quality for you?
Yeah, I always look for some special qualities. If a player can serve really well when he's young, okay, that's a special quality. Can he do things that I haven't seen before? That's a special quality. Can he jump? Can he? And I need more than one special quality. I need some average qualities on many things, but I need also a special quality. And for Anders and Christian, I saw quite early that they were special good learners, because they were always really, both when I asked them, but they are really thinking about how can I do this better in the next attempt I do against this blocker. Yeah, I can cut the ball more like this. My approach was not perfect. So they are not only thinking about, oh shit, I hit this ball out, so I'm bad, as many do. I couldn't manage to receive this ball, so I'm bad, and I yell, and I'm not really thinking about okay, how can I deal with this next time? And it's not that you are doing that all the time, but they can talk really mature about this, that and also wise, that okay, I have to take this ball a bit higher, or I have to go more on the angle, or I should be better in just try to touch the ball. I have to keep my arm high, and things like that. If they already can speak something about this, this is for me a quality that a player has.
Yeah. So, okay, there are some special players in the world, and there are for sure also a lot of them who doesn't necessarily have the special qualities we are talking about now. So how can they be valuable for the team? How do you give them a place to grow?
We always have to support the players who are the stars in the team, or the starters. Always it's so hard to be on the bench or not to be chosen to the first team, and these kind of things. And if you can let them also have a value for the team, maybe they are good in organizing things, maybe they have a really good humor, that they are the glue in the team in the social settings. These qualities are also really important. And now, after we celebrate our third European Championship, we sat around the table together with our second team and our staff, and I try to emphasize how important the second team was for our to win our third European Championship, because they are in practice, they are challenging them, they are serving on them, they are there also to be their friends, but also to tell this in a winning situation, that they are an important part of the environment, will feel them, that they are a piece of the victory and a piece of the team. And I think they also will feel that they are a part of the team. And the same with an indoor team. If you have bench players, they are really an important part of the whole environment. And I think you should take care of them more than the winners, because the winners, they will feel good. They will not feel good if they lose some games, and then you have to take care of them. But if you win something, the people who are not on the court, they have to be told that they are an important part of the team.
Okay. All right, thanks. Well, going on to the next slide, we are talking a little bit more about involving and finding the drive. What triggered me really about the first part is that you ask the guys to come and train them, that they are their own project managers. I mean, that's a nice philosophy. So how does that work in practice? Do you create a training together, or what is your role in it? What is their role in it? How does that work?
No, I create always the practice and what's in it, because that's my profession, how to develop players. But the effort the players have to put in it is that they have to be really aware of that it's their career they are working with, and they are project managers in their own career. They have to make the steps, because now some players, when I start with a group, I always come to them and I say, okay, do you think I'm going to make you good? And then they are looking at me, and of course, if there is coming a good coach, they will expect you to make the players good. So and then I say, okay, do you think I will make you good? And then you can rest a bit. They have to put in the energy, because I'm really clear. I haven't not made any good players in my life, but I have created some environments that they can develop in. But they have to execute it. They have to put in the learning. They have to do their very best in the situation that demands that. So to give them the responsibility to create their own careers is for me is an important thing in the start of the meeting with players. And I say we as coaches and the other players, we are kind of helpers for you. We are helpers in making the environment. Your teammates are helping in pushing your limit or serving at you, and you cannot do this alone, but you are the project leader in your own career. So that's for me a key task in develop a crew, a team or players. That he understands what his role is in a team. Also, it's your responsibility to develop in our setting that we have created.
All right, yeah. So we talked also about role models and then being humble, being a coach, and I mean creating an environment and not only putting yourself being the great successor, and the biggest part of the success is also being humble. So I mean that's nice to hear, and in the end it is a cooperation between coach and team. It's nice to hear that you're making such an environment together and not separate from each other. I mean, talking about evaluating the tournaments, I mean, it's easy if you win the European Championships to evaluate, but how do you do that? How do you find when it's good, when you are happy, when you're satisfied, or how do you evaluate after tournaments together?
Yeah. Thank you for the question, because we were discussing that now when we finished this tournament, and when we win, we are kind of evaluating us as it was a crisis, because then we are feeling good, and I don't want us to be lazy that, okay, now everything is good and blah, blah, blah. So we are more into try to evaluate things as a crisis when we are doing good. If we are not doing so good, we are more kind of supporting and not that tough, because we we also need to build some confidence in what we are doing. So then it's, of course, adjusting something what we are not doing good and so on. But we also have to have faith in what we are doing. So and then it could be an unlucky situation, an unlucky ball, or blah blah blah. Then I'm more humble. Also, I can. If we win a game, I try to be tougher in the next practice than if we lose a game. Then they don't need the punishment, but then they also need the support that I have believe in you and build some confidence again. So that's a balance, but that's the way how I think. And how we are approaching this with evaluation.
Yeah. So there was quite a famous basketball coach who won a lot of NBA titles, Phil Jackson. He was always stating, don't take a timeout when it's going wrong, but take a timeout when it's going right. So why does it go well? Why do we win? And when it's going wrong and you lose, let them figure out a way to overcome it. Is that like also your little bit, you can find it, this philosophy in your way of proceeding them?
Yeah. And I think if you ask different coaches, everybody has a different approach to things. And that's also why I think it's important to listen to many coaches and take what you sound is a good idea for yourself and not what others are doing. I've read a lot of books and I've heard a lot of coaches, but I just adapt what I really believe in, and I never try to create the same style as somebody else, because we have so many different styles in coaching, and so many different styles are also successful. So you have to be true to your inner voice and how to finding your path. So I listen to coaches, and if I can have a sentence or something, oh Jesus, this is what I believe in, then I use it for all it's worth. And that find your philosophy is a key. Find what you truly are and how your leadership truly is. That's for me much more important than that you try to be somebody you have read about or yeah.
Well, thanks. It's a nice thing to talk about. Going on to the next slide, why we win. I mean, the first part we talked a little bit about your surprise of them performing so well on their first big tournament in Klagenfurt. We talked a lot about having fun, smiling, and you said you were surprised about their game mentality on the first big tournament. How important is having fun for you on big moments in your life or in your career?
Yeah, I think to really win games, you have to like to be on the court when this is happening. Otherwise, it will be a struggle with your own if you are more afraid of losing than or making a fool out of yourself when you're standing on court and things like that. So to embrace all the feelings, you can be anxious, you can be this, but you have to embrace this and also think that it's to have the final games, the crowd are watching you. That's actually what we are preparing for, and some players, they just love to be there, and they cannot have enough of the crowd. They cannot have. And for me, I saw this the first time Anders and Christian, they should play in Vienna. There were 8,000 or 10,000 on the stages, and we actually hoped for that we should play the Austrians in the center court. And normally I talk a bit with the players before. What do you think about the crowd? And they will be against you. they just looked at me and they said, "Okay, bring it on. I can't wait to go on the court." And then I thought, I will never again ask these boys if they are anxious if they go on court. They just love to be there when there is crowd. If they are against them or with them or whatever, they just love to be on court when there are. And that's also for me a part in the puzzle why we are winning.
Okay, so you are like embracing the moment on the Olympic Games. I mean, at this moment they are doing really well. So how do you are confident about them being able to embrace the pressure and the moment on a part of their lives where they haven't been in yet, the Olympic Games?
Yeah, I think we don't have to talk too much about it, because if you build too much about it, you don't have to talk too much about it, because when you are there, you will feel the energy and you will feel the game and you will do your really best. If it's like life or death, this one tournament, then you are in trouble. So it's just also there. We haven't been there with these two players, but I am sure that they just wanted to play every single match because it's so fun to play, and that's what we try also to create when we are in these situations, and try to not focus on that there is a lot of media attention, that there blah blah blah, that they can have bigger sponsors or things like that, but just embrace the moment of competition, and that they just love to play volleyball against good other opponents. It was also, to give one more example, we from the last this European Championship, there were two Russian teams in the semi-final, and we knew that we could beat the others more easily than the one we had in the final. And then the boys said, I really hope that the best teams win, the best team of the Russians wins, because we like to play against the best teams. They give us the biggest challenge. And that's for me a really healthy approach to what we are. We want to play the best players. We want to, because they can give us a bigger challenge. And to have a big challenge in the final it's just so much fun, more fun to play, if you understand.
Yeah, of course. So preparing their mindset for such a big event like the Olympic Games, where they have no experience in yet, you think as a coach or as a team, like as a whole team, this preparation is going well and you're on the right foot of preparing the boys for it?
Yeah, we are on track in preparing, and sometimes you don't feel that you are on the right track. That's also a part of it. This summer we didn't know where we stand towards the other players, but and sometimes as a coach you feel unsure about how good you are, if you are doing the right things in practice, and blah blah blah. But we are confident in our approach to this too. But it's also it could have been slightly different if you have other athletes in how your approach is, and I think that's the part you have to discuss with the players. If you really feel pressure before Olympics, you have to work on these things. So it's what team you have also, and that's also you have to ask the players. You have to involve them in answering questions that they maybe hadn't thought about themselves.
Okay. So yeah, we spoke a lot about coaches and everything, and you want to say something more? You want to share something more with us about why you win with Mol Sørum, and you want to share more with us, or should we continue to the next slide?
No, I think in why we win, that's a topic we could discuss really long. But I want to take some of the keys in, because I'm asked that a lot of times. Why are you always winning? Why? And so I will just say some more about this. One key factor is, of course, athletes that love the game. They love to compete. They are not really enjoying every practice, because that's just a step to the competition that they love. Some players, they love to practice more than they feel better in practice than in competition. In our case, it's opposite. They feel much better in competition than in practice. I think our knowledge in how to work with players, because me and my staff, we have been working with volleyball in different steps and in different ages, so we kind of know what things are important in the game to practice, because you have a lot of coaches, they practice, but they emphasize on or maybe hitting when they are bad in receiving, if you understand. So we see the whole picture of the game in a quite good way, I think. I think also we are really, as I said, competition for us is important, but competition in practice for us is also really important. We compete in training almost in everything we do, just to not to create losers, but just to create focus, and we have point systems. When they lose during a week, they have to make dinners for the others, and there is a really fight of winning. Because it's the practice, we prepare to compete. So if you don't compete in practice, you are not prepared to compete when the weekend comes, when you are going to compete. So the competition thing is for us also kind of dopamine, and you need this in practice. But during the season, when there are a lot of competitions, we go down on this focus. Then they just don't have to compete again on practice. But in between, if you have a training camp now in December and we haven't been competing in a while, then it's really important to compete again. We win also because I think we are pretty good in. We have a kind of another way of scouting players than a lot of other beach teams, and we are more looking at the player we meet in a way of that is how do we block on him? Is it does this guy have a quick arm, or does he have a slow arm? How good is his eyes? We don't emphasize on he's hitting 10 times diagonal and 1 time line and this kind of things. We are trying to see what skills he has and how we can explore the weaknesses in his skill. And the players are really involved in this. So I ask them, does he have a quick arm? And I try to ask them questions and not tell them how to play the game, because they are going to play the game and they have to adapt to their strategies all the time. That's for me, is that also because you have a lot of coaches, they want to control everything, and they want even to control the opponents in telling the players how the opponents are playing. and that's a weird thing for me to tell the players that opponents they are playing like this, because it's not always happening. And if the player is on the court and he tries to remember what the coach said about what is he doing, then you are it's hard for you to stay in the game, because there is a big reading part in the game that you should adapt to the situation that's coming, and the brain cannot multitask. That's proven. So you have to be somewhere. Either you are thinking of what your coach says, or you are in the game and actually see what's coming. So we try to be good readers, and we have, of course, strategies in what to do, but it's not like that I have told them you have to play it like this. That's my I can say, okay, tactics is not the reason why we win. It's human capacity that is the reason why we win. That's how I can say it.
All right, nice.
Yeah.
We slowly go towards the end of this webinar. It's also the last slide, but I'm just curious. I mean, we talked a lot about Anders, we talked a lot about Christian, about their developments, about why they win, about preparation for a game, how to evaluate. But now I'm just curious, how would Anders and Christian describe you?
You should probably ask them, but I think they find me a bit demanding, and I think they also will find me that I try to control the situations around them, and that I'm stressed when not everything is in place, if they forget something, and if they are not in the warm-up court at the right time, that stresses me. And I think they see me as a stressed person when not everything is in place, because I want to have things. I think also they see me as a creative coach. I think also they see me as a good leader for the whole group. I think also they see me as a communicator with them. And as I said, they also see me as the one who is challenging them in different ways and in practice.
All right, thanks for the honest answer. In our college tour, we always end with one final question, and I would also like to ask you, if you would have to give one advice to the people who are watching, what would it be?
That's something you really should be aware of, and I think for me it is to be curious, to try to learn, as a coach. You have to the biggest part of your job is to try to learn things, to try to learn from your players, to try to learn from others. If you stop learning, or if you stop being curious about things, you are done. You are really done, and then you shouldn't be a coach. So you have to dig into things, you have to learn things, you have to, and your sparring partners in this is also your players. Hold them in questions and in not stopping to be curious. That's for me my last answer on this question.
Well, thank you. I was curious about your philosophy, and I'm really honored. We are really honored to have you. At least I learned a lot. So thank you very much for being our guest on the Enjoy College Tour. We will come back for sure with more inspiring guests, and we are continuing to being curious. And thank you a lot for watching, Kåre. Thank you again a lot of times, and we hope to see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.